Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. If you guys didn't know, the next major update for War Thunder is coming out fairly soon. It is being called Alpha Strike, and a lot of people are actually giving it the name Premium Strike because they feel that there are a lot of premium vehicles coming in this update. In this video, we will be exploring that, as well as maybe some other issues being presented by this update that I'm kind of seeing a little bit more than that Premium Strike idea. Now that being said, let's not waste any time and jump into it. Now, as I said before, a lot of people are kind of thinking that this next update has a lot of premium vehicles relative to other vehicles in this update. Now, I've done some research based on this update and some previous ones as well, so let's go over some numbers here. Now, in the Alpha Strike update, based on what I saw on the dev server, of course, these numbers can change a little bit because not every vehicle coming in the update is present on the dev server, but again, based on the vehicles that I counted myself on the dev server, there are 36 new vehicles coming to War Thunder when including the Hungarian Air sub-tech tree, which itself is pretty much a copy-paste tech tree, but I'll be going over that soon. So again, 36 vehicles in total are coming to War Thunder in this next major update, and of those, we have about 7 that are premium. So if you look at it like this, you have 7 of the 36 are premium, and that basically means that 19.44 continuing on into infinity% are a premium vehicle. So what does that look like compared to previous updates? Well, thankfully, we have easy to access numbers on all of that. So looking at air superiority, which is the most recent update before, of course, this next major update that will be coming out, we had a total of 30 vehicles come in that update, and 6 of them were premium, for a total of 20% of the vehicles were premium vehicles. Before that, we had Kings of Battle, which 28 brand new vehicles were in that update, and only 10.7 were premium, so not very many. But before that, we had Sons of Attila. We had 49 brand new vehicles in that update, and there were 18.5% of those that were premium. La Royale, which was the update prior to that, 47 brand new vehicles and 17% were premium. And then if we were to look even further back, we have Sky Guardians, which there were 36 brand new vehicles that were added, and of those, 27.7% were premium. Going even further back, all the way to 2021 with the Red Skies update, we had it where there were 29 brand new vehicles that were added, and 27.6% of those were premium. Now, of course, there's going to be up and down, whatever, right? There's going to be some updates where, quite frankly, it's just a very low number. I mean, heck, again, look at Kings of Battle. Only 10.7% were premium. But if you look back in time, even years ago, you had it where it was like 27.6%. Some updates, I'm sure, had a higher percentage, but the ones I looked at, and I try to be somewhat random outside of the most recent updates, we have it anywhere between like 20 and 30%, give or take, that are premium vehicles. So this update, Premium Strike, Alpha Strike, it is not all too different than what we normally get. Now, what I feel like is an actually valid concern here, however, is the fact that the F-20 Tiger Shark is the very first sold top-tier premium. So we had top-tier premiums temporarily in the past as tech trees were getting ready for decompression, but this is an actual top-tier premium that they're selling since they've modified their premium rules a few months ago, and they're selling it for $74.99 USD, or pretty much $75. That, I think, is a big deal, and I think that is where the Premium Strike moniker, the nickname, is more so accurate. I'm hoping that we don't see in the future these ridiculously high-tier premiums selling for ridiculously high prices, all because Gaijin is just like, oh, well, now we have tier 9 aircraft, and it's like not really all too much more capable than tier 8, but the reason why they introduced tier 9 is so now they can have an 80 or an 85 or maybe a $90 premium vehicle. Who's to say that that is not going to happen, because it's obviously happened here. And so you're getting a $75 premium for a vehicle that a lot of people like, which, mind you, a lot of people don't really look at this game and say, oh, well, I want all my premiums to be entirely unique. In some ways, it's cool to buy a unique vehicle if it's a premium. However, it's also putting unique vehicles behind a paywall. The F-20 Tiger Shark is a vehicle that so many people have wanted and would have wanted in the regular air tech tree. And instead, maybe like you could put like a pre-production version of the F-16 as a premium. I'm not entirely sure, but that's an idea. But here we have the F-20 Tiger Shark, a well-loved vehicle that so many what if historians, so to speak, some alternate history people would have loved to see come to the regular tech tree, but now you have to pay $75 if you want to purchase it, or if you're lucky, somewhere down the line, you might get a 50% sale on this vehicle. It's just, to me, that's the crazy part, right? It's $75, and I feel like that is where Premium Strike kind of makes some sense. Quite simply, I feel that if any vehicles, again, should be copy-paste, let them be premiums, as that won't give them a competitive advantage, whereas unique vehicles should either be on a rotating event basis, or just free altogether in the regular tech trees. This actually kind of leads to the copy-paste nature of this update, which I kind of feel to be a bigger problem. So as I said before, there are 36 vehicles coming in this update. However, I only count 11 of these 36 vehicles to be not copy-paste. And a good portion of those 11 are naval vehicles that few people are really going to be playing. And what do I mean by copy-paste? Well, I mean that even if something is a variant of something, for example, the Buccaneer S2B, it's pretty much the same plane, just with slightly better capabilities. In this instance, we have AIM-9Ls that it can carry, or for example, the Alpha Jet. This is actually a really good example. Brand new vehicle coming to War Thunder, however, you get the Alpha Jet A and the Alpha Jet E. One of those essentially is going to be copy-paste because, of course, the Alpha Jet A and E, the only difference between the two is that they can carry different rockets in their ordnance payload. So that's really it. So even though it's a brand new vehicle, one of them by its nature is a copy-paste vehicle at the same time. Same with the Su-25 SM-3. That is a copy-paste vehicle. Now, I'm kind of not saying that the BF-109C is a copy-paste vehicle because it's a brand new-ish variant. It's got new guns. It's a low BR vehicle. It's not just like, oh, well, here's an extra 50 kilograms of bombs where previously you could only have like 100 kilograms of bombs. It's not like that. I would consider it to be just enough new where it is not a copy-paste vehicle entirely, though I'm kind of on the edge on that one. But with that said, again, I feel like the whole copy-paste nature of this update, that's what I'm more worried about than the premium, although, of course, the premium portion of this update I'm also worried about because $75, give me a break. Now, going back to copy-paste, I get it. As time goes on and as we get into more modern vehicles, it just so happens that nations are buying vehicles from other nations rather than making their own unique vehicle. This introduces a lot of copy-paste with just some variations between vehicles. I mean, look at all the T-72 variants out there, right? I mean, heck, when China was first added, I actually thought that that was pretty cool because even though for the most part their tech tree going up through at least halfway through the Cold War, it was copy-paste, it featured a unique mix of East and West that you could play in a tech tree that you couldn't find anywhere else in War Thunder. Now that the Swedish, German, and Italian tech trees all feature tons of copy-paste from other nations, so East and West, that kind of makes their tech trees a little bit less unique. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still have their homegrown vehicles like the Ariat, the higher versions of the Leopards, and whatever else. However, it still makes them a little bit less unique because now you can just kind of grind through a substantial portion of the Russian ground tech tree in the German ground tech tree, or the Italian ground tech tree, or get like a whole bunch of Russian vehicles in the Italian air tech tree. I know that's a little bit of a simplification, but basically what I'm saying is that now that the Swedish, German, and Italian tech trees all feature, again, tons of copy-paste from other nations that make their tech trees less unique, sure, it might add some capabilities where maybe they had some weaknesses before, but this game feels more homogeneous than ever. In my opinion, a way to counter this is to kind of take a step back from modern things a bit. Not entirely, of course, but if Gaijin had an update that featured a large amount of vehicles from the 1940s through 1960s that we haven't seen yet, that would be amazing. Do you know how many vehicles were experimented on during those times that they could add as premiums that people would love? I mean, heck, that would just be amazing. Or even still, slowly trickle in those vehicles alongside the copy-paste elements that we are continually receiving. I mean, do you know how many more F4 Phantom variants we can get in War Thunder that people want? For example, the Ice. I mean, of course, that's a very upgraded variant, but you get the point. There are tons of these vehicles that had specialized variants for each country, and sure, they might be a little bit unique for this, that, or the other, but they still fly 95% or still tank 95% the same as everything else out there. And again, I feel like that is probably the biggest issue with this update. And also the fact that we are now starting to see $75 premiums. That to me is just completely ridiculous, especially on a vehicle that so many people wanted. And I understand that is why Gaijin's doing it, because they can earn a lot of money off the F-20 Tiger Shark. I can guarantee you that thing sold out like hotcakes, whatever the heck selling like hotcakes means, but you get the idea. It sold a ton, and I'm sure that that is going to be the new F5C. It's going to be the new popular vehicle that so many people are going to flock to because it's a vehicle that so many people want, or they heard is good, or it looks cool, whatever the case may be. It is going to sell, and that kind of sucks because I feel that more people should be able to access that vehicle than just having it being slapped with a $75 paywall and being top tier again, which is a relatively new policy by Gaijin, because it used to be that they would never introduce top tier, and that is actually something that they were proud of, that they would never introduce top tier premiums. But as crazy as it might be to say, even though the $75 premium pack is a big deal, and then you get all these other things like the Centauro RGO, Christian 2 Ram Segal, the Type 90 Fuji, the T80UD, which are all essentially high tier premium tanks that, with the exception of the T80UD, they all cost $59.99. Hey everyone, Futurestein here. I just realized I made a little bit of a mistake. Those are not $59.99, rather $69.99 for all of those high tier package premium tanks. Pretty damn crazy. That's pretty much as heinous, in my opinion, as the F20 Tiger Shark being $74.99. With that outrage aside, let's get back into the video with a really bad transition back into my old audio. That is not the big concern that I see here because, relatively speaking, the premium vehicles in this update, it is, as a percentage, relatively normal compared to what we've seen in previous updates. With the exception of the F20 Tiger Shark, I do have a bone to pick with that. I feel like, again, it is that Gaijin might be getting a little bit lost in the whole copy-paste argument because, again, yes, there are some vehicles out there like the F4 Ice, or like some crazy variant of a BMP, or whatever, right? Like, there are some really cool variants out there that might be technically considered copy-paste, but would be a really neat addition, especially if those are homegrown variants of vehicles that people decided to cobble together based on their individual needs, rather than purchase a different variant from the country exporting it. There are so many of those things, and the fact that we keep getting these copy-paste vehicles with minor differences, it just sucks. It really sucks. We need more things like the ZBD04A. Yes, I know it looks like the BMD4 or the M6120S or the Zurstor 45. Those things look great, but then we get something like the SU25 SM3. It's like all that offers is a slightly different loadout when it comes to ground attack. That's it, you know, or the Centauro RGO. Again, like I said, if there's going to be any sort of copy paste, it probably should be premiums. Of course, there should be some unique vehicles being premiums, but for the most part, especially when it comes to high tier, just to limit competitive advantage from premiums, yes, copy paste. But then you get something like the Centauro RGO, which based on the dev server, it weighs 4.5 tons more and actually has worse armor, relatively speaking, compared to the Centauro I-120. So yes, I'm worried about copy paste in this update, and I'm worried about how it's going to continue to be a trend in this update and future updates, a growing trend at that. That's what I'm more worried about. But then you also have the other head of this, the increasing price of premiums and the increasing amount of high value premiums out there, like again, the Type 90 Fuji, the Centauro RGO, Christian 2, the Ram Segal, the F20 Tiger Shark, and the T80UD. That many high cost premiums would normally take 2 or even 3 updates to come out, and instead we're getting them in one. So yes, I can understand why it's called Premium Strike, and I think that's, for the most part, a fitting moniker for this, but maybe it should be Copy Paste Strike. I'm not really entirely sure, I'm not that creative, but just let me know in the comments below, because I'm worried about the copy paste elements of this game, and yes, I can understand it's cool that we get the Hungarian sub-tech tree. I like it, we're representing more nations, but like, give us the South American tech tree, you know, like a brand new tech tree, just cobbled together of nations. That would be cool. I feel like that would be a really nice thing to see, because so many nations out there are still producing unique domestic vehicles, or if not now, they used to. So there's still so much uniqueness that we could add to this game, and I feel like we're just not doing it. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. By the way, thanks again. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.